I'm Amy Nicole, and I've loved animals my entire life. I was very obsessed with them when I was a kid. Like, my aunt and uncle even had me in this book club that sent like these wild animal books that I got to learn about a different one every month. I was in like the third or fourth grade whenever I realized that human beings were animals. They taught us that in science class. They try to teach us that we're at the top of the food chain, but I can guarantee you if any one of us were dropped in a jungle, we would find out how inaccurate that theory is. So it was in junior high where I learned that the meanest, cruelest type of animal I would ever meet would be an 8th grade girl named Jamie. It wasn't just her, it was a whole group of girls. We were all, audition, we were all trying out to be on the volleyball team for high school. It was our last month of 8th grade, and when they posted the paper to see who made it, I was the only one who had made it out of 8th grade going into 9th grade. And immediately, though, all of these girls attacked me and began attacking me and saying just telling me how fat and ugly and horrible I was, and that I wasn't good at the game, and that the only reason I made it was because my father knew the coach, which in my mind, I knew it was because I was a 13-year-old girl who was 5'7.5", who could spike a volleyball, who could serve a volleyball, who could squat 350 pounds. But, there were a whole lot of other things going on. And the beautiful thing about animals is that anytime any kind of trauma happens, it kind of gets tucked away into the back. But sometimes if another trauma happens, it brings up all these other things. And so I was going into my homeroom class, and I found this note on my desk that this girl, Jamie, had written, but had all of these other girls sign. And it was just like, your butt is so big, and your hair is so curly and frizzy, and you are so fat and ugly, and we all hate you. And any other normal girl would be like, oh, fuck all these girls. I'm done. I don't need them. But what those girls didn't know about me, and what I didn't even know about me yet, was that triggered all of this stuff that had happened to me when I was really young. I was not only bullied by one of my older brothers, but I had been sexually abused and raped at a very young age. And that was something that had been tucked away. And this whole experience brought all that stuff up. Again, it's this animal thing. We're all meant to be survivors. And my way of dealing with that, because I'm dealing with all this fight or flight response, was I went and took all of these pills. Now, luckily, I had told one of my girlfriends, hey, this is what I did. And luckily, she went and told one of my parents. And I ended up having to go to the hospital. I went into a mental hospital, and in that place, it was actually kind of a beautiful thing for me because I met all these other kids who had been pushed out of their herd and pushed out of their tribe. And, growing up in Denham Springs, I was just the black sheep, and I just went to this space where I met all these other black sheep who were all these sensitive young people that maybe sometimes some really bad things had happened. And I went into my freshman year of high school being this girl who learned how to go be a rebel. I'm 13 years old, and I came back with purple hair and listening to different kinds of music and eating psilocybin mushrooms and smoking marijuana. And it actually just didn't make it any easier, to show up at my high school being even more of a rebel and more of myself that I actually was. And the fight or flight kicked in again, and I ended up running away from home this time. And I went to a friend's house, and when I went to her house, I was just planning to come to New Orleans, and she was like, I want to leave too. And she had a lot more money than me, so she said she wanted to go to California. So I was like, cool, let's go to California. We got on a Greyhound bus. We went for 3 days. We were being some wild freaking animals. We got on this bus. We were in California. We were right outside of Los Angeles for about 10 days until the police found us. And when they found us, they brought us to the Los Angeles Juvenile Detention Center lockup. And we were there until our parents came and got us. And when I went there, I saw all these other children who were there, locked up. And I saw people who had way worse had it way worse than me. And I had like just this vision of, I can, whatever I've been through is not that bad. So I got back home and I had to go back to this hospital, which is called the Ta Center. And while I was there, I had an amazing meeting with this woman named Sister Helen Prejean. Some of you may have heard of her. But she is the first person who ever taught me about like meditation and like the actual power of prayer, and like really has this understanding of our animal brains and how we can sometimes be programmed a certain way, but you can reprogram yourself another way. And I was very incredibly grateful that I was able to meet this woman at the time that I did when I was 13 years old. And, I went through that experience, and then I get back to school. And, of course, all these girls who were so mean to me were, like, all of a sudden wanted to be my friend again. And I'm like, what? You already pushed me out the herd. Like, you pushed me out the tribe. I don't want to be your friend. But the thing that I, like, really noticed about it all is that we human beings as animals have, like, this huge capacity where we can be cruel and mean and awful and horrible. But then we have this capacity to evolve in our own lifetime and just be like amazing and compassionate and beautiful and understanding and loving. And I still think that human beings are the most fascinating animals of all. So thank you.